Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching Diddy India Newshour. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming on over the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi outlines 5 key global priorities to strengthen disaster resilience during his address at the International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure 2025. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar tells his visiting British counterpart David Lammy that India will never accept perpetrators of evil being put on par with victims. India's extreme poverty drops to 5.3% in 2022-23 from 27.1% in 2011-12, lifting 269 million people out of poverty, says the World Bank. And Muslims worldwide celebrate Eid al-Adha, a sacred occasion which symbolizes devotion, selflessness and compassion. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure 2025 through a video link. Addressing the gathering, he welcomed the participants to the International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure 2025, marking its first ever hosting in Europe. He expressed gratitude to the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and the Government of France for their support in organizing the event. The PM also extended his best wishes for the upcoming United Nations Oceans Conference.
This conference is being hosted in Europe for the very first time. I thank my friend President Macron and the government of France for their support. I also extend my wishes for the upcoming United Nations Oceans Conference. Friends, the theme of this conference is shaping a resilient future for coastal regions. Coastal regions and islands are at great risk due to natural disasters and climate change.
Underlining the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure's ongoing work with 25 small island developing states, Prime Minister Modi expressed his appreciation for the presence of representatives from the Pacific, Indian Ocean and Caribbean regions and welcomed the African Union's participation in the coalition as well.
The Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure is working with 25 small island developing states. Resilient homes, hospitals, schools, energy, water security, and early warning systems are being built. Given the theme of this conference, I am glad to see friends from the Pacific, Indian Ocean, and the Caribbean here. Further, I am happy that the African Union has also joined the CDRI. Friends, I would like to draw your attention to some important global priorities. First, courses, modules, and skill development programs on disaster resilience need to become part of higher education.
Drawing attention to key global priorities, the Prime Minister outlined 5 key topics to strengthen disaster resilience.
Many countries face disasters and rebuild with resilience. A global digital repository for the learnings and best practices would be beneficial. Third, disaster resilience requires innovative financing. We must design actionable programs and ensure developing nations have access to finance. Fourth, we consider small island developing states as large ocean countries. Due to their vulnerability, they deserve special attention. Fifth, strengthening early warning systems and coordination is crucial. This helps timely decisions and effective last mile communication. I am sure that discussion in this conference will consider these aspects.
British Foreign Secretary David Lammy arrived in New Delhi this morning on a two-day visit to review various aspects of the strategic partnership between the two nations. The British Foreign Secretary met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi on Saturday. He will also call on Prime Minister Modi later in the evening. Now, during the bilateral meeting, in his opening remarks, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that India is practicing a policy of zero tolerance towards terrorism, and it will never countenance perpetrators of evil being put on par with its victims.
Let me thank the government of the United Kingdom for the strong condemnation of the barbaric terrorist attack in Pahalgam in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and for your solidarity and support to India in the fight against terrorism. We practice a policy of zero tolerance against terrorism and expect partners to understand it. And we will never countenance perpetrators of evil being put at par with its victims.
And Dr. Jaishankar also described the recently finalized India-UK free trade deal and the double contribution convention as a truly a milestone.
The recent conclusion of the India-UK FTA and the double contribution convention is truly a milestone. It will not only propel our two-way trade and investment, but will also have a positive effect on other strategic aspects of our bilateral ties. It would also contribute to the strengthening of supply and value chains.
And if you talk about milestones, well, the PM's office has also highlighted a remarkable one, that India has slashed extreme poverty to 5.3% in 22-23, down from 27.1% in 2011-12. This is according to the World Bank, as reported by the Financial Express on Saturday. This sharp decline, lifting 269.4 million people out of poverty, reflects the success of targeted welfare schemes, economic reforms and improved access to essential services under the Indian government's leadership. The multidimensional poverty index further shows non-monetary poverty dropping from 53.8% in 2005-06 to 15.5% in 2022-23, enhancing living standards nationwide. Now, this achievement, announced via the Namo app by Prime Minister's Office India, highlights how World Bank has positioned India as a global model for poverty alleviation, showcasing inclusive growth. The data, based on the 2022-23 Household Consumption Expenditure Survey, underscores a transformative decade for one of the world's largest democracies. And the PM's office also posted on X, throwing light on an article by the Economic Times. The article notes how it is a significant boost to India's industrial landscape. Government initiatives like Make in India and production-linked incentives or PLI schemes are fostering a pro-manufacturing environment, as highlighted by Karatizit, a global leader in cutting tools. The Economic Times reported that India's manufacturing sector is poised for growth, driven by workforce upskilling, R&D investment and sustainable circular economy practices. This development positions India as a competitive player on the global stage, attracting international companies to set up facilities and collaborate. With Karatizit expanding its local production in Bengaluru and Kolkata, this shift underscores India's potential to lead in advanced manufacturing, bolstered by the government support and a skilled workforce, marking a new era of economic empowerment and innovation. The middle class, often called the backbone of Indian society, is finally finding its voice in welfare narratives. In a historic shift, policies are being drafted for the middle income group at the center, which aims to transform their life and the quality of life. Diddy India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us this report.
As India rises on the strength of its people, the middle class stands at the forefront, turning their aspirations and ambitions into achievements that shape the nation's identity. Marking 11 years in power, the NDA government, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, shared a report on June 5 that highlights its efforts to support the middle class and improve their well-being. Recent initiatives signal a paradigm shift. Over the past 11 years, income tax policies have steadily provided meaningful relief to the Indian middle class. Even in the recent Union Budget 2025-26, individuals earning up to 12 lakh rupees annually were exempted from paying taxes, a significant measure to empower the Indian middle class. The Modi government's welfare schemes were complemented by prudent fiscal policies, which helped in taming inflation. From 2015-16 to 2024-25, the average rate fell to just 5%. The change in the socio-economic landscape was the result of sound policy, strong coordination with the Reserve Bank, better supply-side management, and above all, higher disposable incomes. The middle class, long hit by rising prices, finally found relief and regained confidence in the economy through tax relief. Besides lifting the lives of the middle class, India has also lifted 171 million people from extreme poverty in the last decade, as per the World Bank's recent report. The direct payment schemes like Jan Dhan played a major role. In its report Poverty and Equity Brief on India, the World Bank said that over the past decade, India has significantly reduced poverty. Extreme poverty fell from 16.2% in 2011-12 to 2.3% in 2022-23, lifting 171 million people above this line. India also transitioned into the lower middle income category. The World Bank noted, adding, poverty fell from 61.8% to 28.1%, lifting 378 million people out of poverty. The Modi-led government's initiative to lift the poor out of poverty and also improve the life of the Indian middle class has been focused on affordable urban housing, comprehensive health schemes like Ayushman Bharat, and empowering the youth with skills. By prioritizing ease of living, strengthening social security, and empowering the youth, Modi 3.0 has firmly established itself as pro-middle class. As India moves forward, the middle class stands not just as a beneficiary, but as the backbone of the nation's growth, its dreams shaping the future, its progress defining the country's success. Rahul Upadhyay's report for Diddy India.
It was a journey to remember and a big boost to connectivity in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a historic visit on Friday, inaugurated the world's highest railway arch bridge, the Chenab Rail Bridge, and India's first cable-stayed rail bridge, the Anji Bridge. He also flagged off 2 Vande Bharat Express trains from Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Katra to Srinagar and back. Take a look at how these initiatives unfolded.
माता वैष्णो देवी के आशीर्वाद से आज वादी कश्मीर भारत के रेल नेटवर्क से जुड़ गई। उधमपुर, श्रीनगर, बारामूला, ये रेल लाइन प्रोजेक्ट ये सिर्फ नाम नहीं है, ये जम्मू कश्मीर के नए सामर्थ्य की पहचान है। भारत के नए सामर्थ्य का जयघोष है। चेनाब ब्रिज दुनिया का सबसे ऊंचा रेलवे आर्च ब्रिज है। हमारा अंजी ब्रिज भी इंजीनियरिंग का बेहतरीन नमूना है। ये प्रोजेक्ट पूरा करना मुश्किल था, चुनौतीपूर्ण था, लेकिन हमारी सरकार ने चुनौती को ही चुनौती देने का रास्ता चुना है। ये दिखाता है विकसित भारत का सपना जितना बड़ा है उतना ही बुलंद हमारा हौसला है, हमारा सामर्थ्य है।
Meanwhile, the first Vande Bharat Express train between Katra and Srinagar route began its journey on Saturday, a day after Prime Minister Modi flagged off 2 trains connecting Katra with Srinagar. Passengers excitedly boarded the train for the inaugural ride. Currently, 2 pairs of Vande Bharat Express trains have been introduced on the Srinagar-Katra-Srinagar route. The semi-high-speed trains will operate 6 days a week, reducing travel time between Srinagar and Katra to just 3 hours. This is a significant step in enhancing railway infrastructure in Jammu and Kashmir and boosting connectivity, transport and tourism in a key state and union territory, in fact. So there you can see that was the first journey from the Vaishno Devi station on to Srinagar for the Vande Bharat train. As I said, it's a semi-high-speed train which will bring down the travel time from Katra in Jammu to Srinagar in Kashmir to just 3 hours. And this is a train service that will run 6 days a week, and it will be a boon to all those people, especially to tourists who want to travel to Srinagar and on to other parts in Kashmir as well, and is going to be a big boost to that part of the country. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Riot police anti-ICE protesters square off in Los Angeles after raids. Iran furious over Trump's travel ban against 12 countries. And SpaceX's Falcon 9 successfully launches satellite into space. Satellite to space में launch होती है. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Gautam Roy. Now, in a significant diplomatic move, US President Donald Trump has announced a new round of trade talks with China. This is set for Monday in London, following a call with Chinese President Xi Jinping. China is unlikely to loosen its grip on the export of rare earths needed for the manufacturing of electric vehicles, fighter jets and microchips, despite the call between Trump and Xi on Thursday. The scheduled talks mark the second round of negotiations since Trump initiated a trade war with sweeping tariffs this year. The talks involving US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Trade Representative Jameson Greer aim to ease tensions between the world's 2 largest economies. Well, Donald Trump, via his Truth Social platform, posted about the talks, saying that and I quote, "The meeting should go very well," end quote. Last month's Geneva talks led to a temporary tariff reduction, with US duties on Chinese goods dropping to 30% and China's to 10%. However, with the truce nearing its August expiration and Trump accusing China of violating terms, stakes seem quite high. But a dramatic rift between US President Donald Trump and tech billionaire Elon Musk is sending political and economic shockwaves all over the world. Once allies, the two are now publicly feuding after Musk slammed Trump's massive spending bill as an abomination. Trump retaliated by threatening to cancel Musk's lucrative government contracts, including NASA-linked SpaceX deals. Though Trump downplayed the feud Friday, calling Musk a man who has lost his mind, he hinted at reviewing billions in federal subsidies that are given to Musk's companies. Meanwhile, US President Trump has said he is too busy working on international issues to be thinking about tech billionaires' troubles following their public falling out.
I've been so busy working on China, working on Russia, working on Iran, working on somebody I'm not thinking about it.
Meanwhile, there's been a rapprochement in the works as well, with officials trying to get these two to talk to each other as well, but it seems it'll take a bit of a time for the ice to thaw. Now, Trump has signed 3 executive orders aimed at strengthening US defense against drone threats, accelerating commercial drone use, and reviving supersonic air travel. The orders mark a sweeping effort to modernize US airspace control, authorizing routine drone operations beyond visual line of sight, while pushing back against reliance on Chinese drone makers. Trump's orders create a federal task force to enhance real-time drone detection, expand protections around sensitive locations, and assist local law enforcement. The executive actions also aim to fast-track testing of electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, benefiting US firms such as Joby Aviation and Archer Aviation. Additionally, Trump ordered the FAA, that's the Federal Aviation Authority, to lift a 1973 ban on overland supersonic flight, provided aircraft produce no audible sonic boom on the ground. Well, that would be some engineering in itself if any projectile aircraft can go supersonic without producing the boom that is normally accompanying that sort of speed. Now, also US President Donald Trump has announced Friday that a decision on the next Federal Reserve chair is imminent, signaling a possible shift in global monetary policy. Trump emphasized the need for lower interest rates and called former Fed Governor Kevin Walsh highly thought of, fueling speculation he may be the pick. Now, Donald Trump has long criticized current chair Jerome Powell for being too slow to cut rates, urging a full percentage point reduction. A change in Fed leadership could reshape US monetary policy, impacting global markets, exchange rates, and international investment flows. Japan has said it was making progress in talks aimed at easing US President Donald Trump's tariffs, but cautioned that the two sides have not found a point of agreement yet. Japan, a key US ally and its biggest investor, is subject to the same 10% baseline tariffs imposed on most nations, plus steeper levies on cars, steel and aluminum. Trump also announced an additional 24% reciprocal tariff on Japan in early April, but later paused it, along with similar measures on other countries until early July. Japan wants all levies announced by Trump lifted. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and Donald Trump are reportedly planning to hold bilateral talks around the time of the G7 summit in Canada. Now, tensions erupted in Los Angeles on Friday as protesters clashed with riot police outside the Edward R. Roybal Federal Building amid reports of ICE raids. Aerial footage showed police tackling demonstrators and deploying smoke devices to disperse crowds marching against President Trump's renewed immigration crackdown. The operation follows Trump's multi-pronged enforcement strategy, which includes deporting suspected Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador and targeting foreign student visas. The escalating unrest has drawn global attention, raising concerns over human rights, due process, and the broader diplomatic fallout from US immigration policies. Hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs is facing explosive testimony in his ongoing sex trafficking trial, as a former partner described being pressured into unprotected intercourses. Testifying, the woman told a Manhattan federal court that Combs repeatedly dismissed her concerns about safety and boundaries. Sean Diddy's former partner said she and Combs were in a relationship from 2021 to 2024, during which she felt increasingly manipulated and isolated. Kilma Abrego Garcia, a man mistakenly deported from Maryland to El Salvador by the Trump administration, has returned to the US to face federal criminal charges. Abrego Garcia is scheduled to appear in a federal court in Nashville, Tennessee on Friday evening. He faces charges related to the transportation of undocumented immigrants within the United States, stemming from an indictment filed on the 21st of May. His return follows a high-profile diplomatic effort with Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele agreeing to extradite Abrego Garcia after US authorities presented an official arrest warrant. Mexico on Friday said that fentanyl trafficking to the US has dropped about 40% since President Trump took office, but noted they are still awaiting updated seizure data from US authorities. Trump has pointed to fentanyl trafficking as a reason for imposing tariffs in Mexico, although many shipments remain unaffected due to protections under a three-nation trade deal.
La reducción de fentanilo.
The reduction in the flow of fentanyl from Mexico to the United States has fallen significantly. Between the time President Trump took office and today, the drop is close to 40%. We are awaiting data from the US government's CBP.
Tehran on Saturday criticized the US travel ban targeting Iranians and citizens from 11 predominantly Middle Eastern and African nations, calling the move evidence of a racist mindset. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry's Director General for Iranian Expatriate Affairs, Ali Reza Hashemi Raja, described the policy set to begin on the 9th of June as a clear indication of the influence of supremacist and racist thinking among US decision makers. The decision indicates, again as Iran representative said, indicates the deep hostility of American decision makers towards the Iranian and Muslim people. He added. Earlier, US President Donald Trump signed an executive order reviving sweeping restrictions that echo his first-term travel ban, justified on national security grounds, following a firebomb attack at a pro-Israel rally in Colorado. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has admitted that Israel is supporting an anti-Hamas armed group in Gaza. According to local media, the group is part of a local Bedouin tribe led by Yasser Abu Shabab. The Israeli army also confirmed that it was supported arming local militia in Gaza. Now, this comes after a former Israeli minister said that the country has transferred weapons to this armed group. And the Israeli military has retrieved the body of a Thai hostage, Nathapong Pinta, who was abducted by the Hamas during the attack on Israel on the 7th of October in 2023. The Israeli military said Pinta was killed by his captors. Pinta, an agricultural worker, was abducted from Kibbutz Nir Oz, a small community near the border, where 1 in 4 people were killed or taken hostage during the 7th of October attack. Myanmar's ruling military on Saturday hit back at a UN resolution aimed at curbing labor violations in the war-torn nation, calling it politically motivated. The International Labour Organization on Thursday invoked Article 33 of its constitution, which could see sanctions imposed against the military authorities which have seized power in the 2021 coup. The United Nations Labour Agency said countries should ensure their relations with Myanmar in no way enable, facilitate or prolong the violations of workers' rights in respect of freedom of association and forced labour. It called on international bodies to report any activities directly or indirectly enabling or abetting labour violations under Myanmar's junta government. On Saturday, Myanmar's Labour Ministry released a statement saying the resolution had been adopted without due partiality and fairness and was based on politically motivated approaches. SpaceX's Falcon 9 successfully launched the SXM-10 satellite for SiriusXM on Saturday. A Falcon 9 rocket carrying SXM-10 lifted off from Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The SXM-10 satellite was placed into a geosynchronous transfer orbit, enabling it to orbit Earth and enhance SiriusXM's satellite radio services. This mission marks the 8th flight for the Falcon 9 rocket, which has previously supported missions like NASA's Crew 9. Let's now take a quick look at some other stories making news around the world. Thousands of Muslim pilgrims performed early morning prayers on Saturday, circling the Kaaba in Mecca as part of their Hajj journey. People also performed stoning of the devil ritual, casting small pebbles at the 3 Jamarat pillars, symbolizing the rejection of Satan. Muslims across Pakistan celebrated Bakrid, also known as Eid al-Adha. People offered prayers held at various mosques and Eidgahs. Eid al-Adha is one of the 2 most important festivals of the Islamic calendar. A state of emergency has gripped Manitoba as raging wildfires have displaced over 17,000 residents from remote communities, prompting mass evacuations to the provincial capital Winnipeg. Evacuation centres have been established across Winnipeg, Thompson and Winkler to accommodate displaced residents in Canada. And still to come on Diddy India Newshour, we recall 11 years of good governance under the Modi government. And the flood situation improves in parts of northeast India, although the Met Department still warns of heavy rains. And the World Food Safety Day is being observed today.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on Diddy India.
Welcome back. You're watching Diddy India Newshour. I'm Gautam Roy. And before we go any further, look at the headlines again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi outlines 5 key global priorities to strengthen disaster resilience during his address at the International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure 2025. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar tells his visiting British counterpart David Lammy that India will never accept perpetrators of evil being put on par with victims. And Muslims worldwide celebrate Eid al-Adha, a sacred occasion which symbolizes devotion, selflessness and compassion. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has accepted Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's invitation for the G7 summit that is scheduled to be held from the 15th to the 17th of June in Alberta's Kananaskis. In a post on X, the PM congratulated Canadian counterpart for his recent election victory and thanked him for the invite of G7 meet later this month. Prime Minister Modi said that India and Canada will work together with renewed vigour, guided by mutual respect and shared interests. Now, India is not a member of the G7, which comprises Japan, Italy, France, Germany, Canada, as well as the US and the UK. However, Prime Minister Modi has been invited for all summits since 2019, when France first extended an invitation to the Biarritz summit. Later in 2021, he virtually attended the summit at Cornwall in the UK. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has laid out the Government of India's new position on zero tolerance and assured retaliation against Pak-sponsored terrorism. Highlighting India's stand on terrorism, Rajnath Singh has written an article in India's national daily Times of India. He said that terrorism is a scourge on humanity. It thrives on misguided notions of revolution, martyrdom, and a romanticized view of violence. The assertion that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter is a dangerous misnomer. True freedom can never be built on fear and bloodshed. The currency of terrorism is fear. Yet, even in spreading fear, it has failed to instill any sense of pessimism. India is testimony to this fact, whether it's 26/11 or the 2001 Parliament attack or the recent Pahalgam attack. India stands taller, stronger, and more resolute than ever. Singh also called for a clear global definition of terrorism and urged freezing the finances of terrorist groups and their state sponsors. He warned of Pakistan glorifying terrorists, risking nuclear weapons misuse. The Defence Minister also urged a unified global condemnation of terrorism and worldwide cooperation to eliminate it. Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India and the co-chair of the Coalition of Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, P.K. Mishra, interacted with representatives of member countries and organizations of CDRI at Nice in France. The Principal Secretary welcomed African Union Commission as the newest member of the coalition and appreciated how 54 members have so far joined the CDRI, bound by a common belief that resilience must be embedded in the very foundations of development. Representatives from Fiji, Guatemala, Ecuador, Brazil, UK as well as UNDRR and World Bank also shared their commitment to building a disaster-resilient infrastructure with a special focus on coastal infrastructure in the island states. The BRICS Parliamentary Forum, which was held in Brasilia, Brazil, has sent a significant diplomatic message by unanimously condemning the recent terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. The forum, which included representatives from India, Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, Iran and United Arab Emirates, apart from Egypt, Ethiopia and Indonesia, expressed a united resolve to combat terrorism on a global scale. The Indian delegation was led by Speaker of the lower house of the Indian Parliament, Om Birla, who highlighted in his address that terrorism has become a global crisis that can only be effectively addressed through international cooperation. At the conclusion of the conference, Lok Sabha Speaker was handed over the chairpersonship of the 12th BRICS Parliamentary Forum scheduled to be held by India next year. India will now play an active role in fostering stronger cooperation among BRICS parliaments and promoting a collective approach to tackling global challenges. Meanwhile, India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor is now in its final leg. Out of 7 multi-party delegations carrying the message of India's principled and resolute stand against terrorism, 5 delegations have now returned home after concluding their successful visits to different countries. Now in Washington, D.C., the delegation led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor engaged in candid conversations with members of the U.S. Congress, its government, think tanks and intelligentsia as well as members of the American Press Corps at a reception hosted by the ambassador. He thanked the leaders for their warm presence and said their active contributions to advancing India-US partnerships is deeply valued. Tharoor also attended a lively session with Washington-based media at the National Press Club in D.C., moderated by its Indian-American treasurer, Poonam Sharma. The issues taken up were related to Operation Sindoor and India's action against terrorism. The Indian parliamentary delegation also held a productive meeting with Senator Chris Van Hollen, member of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Delegation members briefed him on the heinous terrorist attack in Pahalgam, discussed India's subsequent Operation Sindoor, and put forth India's firm resolve to counter cross-border terrorism in all its forms. The senator sympathized with the victims of repeated terror attacks in India and said that the U.S. stands with India in the fight against terrorism and expressed support for India's right to defend itself. Also, the delegation led by Shashi Tharoor had a warm and candid conversation with U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau. The Indian delegation briefed him as well on atrocities of the Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindoor. And Tharoor enjoyed a warm and productive telephone conversation with Senator Cory Booker, member of US Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He briefed him on the monstrous terror attack in Pahalgam, outlined the repeated provocations of terrorism emanating from across the border, laid out the details of Operation Sindoor, and emphasized India's firm resolve in countering any future acts of terrorism. Senator Booker unequivocally condemned terrorism and expressed sympathies with the victims. The conversation also touched upon broader themes in India-US strategic partnership, which enjoys robust support. Meanwhile, all-party delegation led by Ravi Shankar Prasad will be arriving from Belgium back home later today. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar visited Dr. Y.S. Parmar University of Horticulture and Forestry in Solan, Himachal Pradesh on Saturday. During the visit, he went to an exhibition by various farmer producer organizations and startups. He also planted a sapling in the memory of his late mother at the university premises. The VP also interacted with the students and faculty members. Currently, Vice President Dhankar is on a 3-day visit to Chandigarh and Himachal Pradesh from the 5th to the 7th of June. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Saturday felicitated officials who played a key role in the recently conducted anti-Naxal operations. In a post on social media platform X, Shah said, and I quote, "I am eager to meet the brave Jawans who made these campaigns successful. With their courage and will soon visit Chhattisgarh to meet them. The Modi government is committed to freeing India from the scourge of Naxalism." End quote. India's Minister for Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Dr. Jitendra Singh, leaves for France to lead high-level Indian delegation at the International Meet on Oceans. Scheduled to be held at the French picturesque coastal city of Nice, the United Nations Oceans Conference is taking place from the 8th to the 13th of June. Earth Sciences Minister's visit to France marks a significant step by the Government of India as it would reiterate Prime Minister Modi's commitment to India's global engagement on ocean sustainability and marine cooperation. The Indian government has completed 11 years of governance under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. Up next, we get to how good governance has impacted lives and the Indian economy. Now, from isolation to integration, the northeastern part of India has also witnessed a decade of transformation. The PM's Act East policy has been unleashing the northeast potential as India's gateway to Southeast Asia. Peace in this part of the country is turning the conflict zones into development hubs. Diddy India's Vishal Baristo brings you this report on 11 years of the Modi government and the northeastern region of India.
The Northeast region is now a gateway to the Southeast Asia. Hill states like Nagaland have now become more accessible by a continuously increasing train network.
Nagaland is a hill state. You have railway head in Dimapur more than 100 years ago. Then it has come to the next station, and the railway station is coming to the capital Kohima. So this year also we are opening to one station, and 4 lane has reached Kohima, and then it will go its way to Imphal, and that is the route to look East policy, and the Act East policy is in action, and that is declared as National Highway, Trans Highway to Southeast Asia.
The drastic change in the northeastern region has been the result of a decisive leadership at the center.
There has been a complete paradigm shift in the attention that's given to the Northeast in terms of the thought process, in terms of the financial investments, the development. So from all levels, there has been a huge change. Starts off with the Honorable Prime Minister himself, who has come more than 70 times to the Northeast in the last 11 years. More than 700 visits by different ministers of the Government of India have been made to Northeast.
But that is not all. To make Northeast AI ready, a blueprint of skill development has already been finalized. Once a frontier region of the country, the Northeastern region has now become a treasure trove of opportunities. Vishal Baristo's report for Diddy India.
Now, let's talk about the weather. And the flood situation in Assam has marginally improved as major rivers, including the Brahmaputra, have shown a receding trend due to decreased rainfall over the past few days. The number of flood-affected victims has reduced from 4.4 lakh, that's about 440,000 across 18 districts. Assam Chief Minister Dr. Hemant Biswa Sarma has visited the Barak Valley for the second time in a week and assured the timely distribution of rehabilitation grants to the affected people. As rescue and relief operations continue by the SDRF, that's State Disaster Relief Force, 328 relief camps and centres have been set up on Friday alone. No new deaths have been reported, keeping the death toll at 16 so far. But the situation could worsen for several northeastern states, including Tripura and Mizoram, as India's Weather Office has issued yellow alerts for rainfall activity in the region over the next 7 days. Let me now take you across directly to Diddy India's Subina Roy, who's joining us live from Dibrugarh. Good afternoon to you, Subina. Could you tell us about how's the situation there? Also keeping in mind that a lot of people in relief camps, they are waiting for some sort of relief material that they could get, including food and water. Plus, there's this yellow alert to worry about as well.
Yes, Gautam, definitely. The IMD has issued yellow alerts for some of the northeastern states like Tripura, Mizoram, Nagaland. But it is a bit of ease for Assam and Meghalaya today as it is not raining. And even if it's raining at some of the places, it is light to very moderate rainfall. So that's why you can see the water levels in rivers are decreasing. They are showing a receding trend. And now just 5 of the rivers are flowing above danger level, which is the Brahmaputra at the lower Assam at Dhubri, it is flowing above danger level. Then the Barak River, which was at a dangerous level, is now showing a receding trend. However, it is flowing above danger level at certain points like AP Ghat, BP Ghat, Pulertal. And also the Katakal River, which was flowing above the highest flood level, is now flowing above danger level. And apart from that, the Kopili River and Dhaleshwari River, these are some of the rivers. Now, talking about the relief and rescue measures, the CM has visited the Barak Valley, which is the worst affected area till now in this year's Assam flood. He has visited twice. Yesterday, he made a visit to Hailakandi, where the National Highway 37 has been affected and devastated by the overflowing waters of Katakal. He visited the relief camps of Panchagram and some of the other villages relief camps as well, and he has assured that proper assistance and relief aids are being provided. Also in Assam, the center had issued 3 months in advance ration. So you can see people carrying sacks of rice so that, you know, the food grains are in stock at their homes in these testing times. Apart from that, tarpaulins are being distributed because in case of intense rainfall, it is the roofs of the houses that leak. So in that case, these tarpaulins are provided, then torch lights are provided. Apart from that, the food grains are provided, the medicines are provided. Yesterday, around since the situation has improved, there were altogether 84 medical camps which were set up, with alone Kachar having the 65 medical camps. And SDRF yesterday rescued 30 people in 22 boats. There has been a landslide in Guwahati this morning at Rupnagar, which has come to report. So these are the measures which are being taken right now, and the CM has also assured that proper rehabilitation measures will be taken for the people who are right now at the release camps, as there has been property damage to their houses. The schools have been closed for quite a few days, and rehabilitation grants will be provided. And also, the state had issued that the bread earners of the families who have deceased, they will be given some monetary assistance.
Right,
Gautam.
right. Well, let's hope that this sense of relief sustains through this rainy season now. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Subina Roy. Now, moving on to Sikkim, where air evacuation operation from Shatan has been concluded with the final sortie of the Mi-17 choppers transporting 76 army personnel to Pakyong Greenfield Airport. This marks the completion of the coordinated evacuation efforts from Shatan, which included the successful rescue of all stranded tourists earlier. Rescue and relief operations were being conducted in North Sikkim following recent disasters in the region. World Food Safety Day is being observed today, a global awareness initiative that highlights the critical importance of safe food in ensuring good health, promoting food security and fostering economic prosperity. The theme this year is Food Safety, Science in Action, drawing attention to the use of scientific knowledge as key to reducing illness, cutting costs and saving lives. Science is at the heart of food safety. It helps us understand what makes food unsafe and guides us on how to prevent foodborne diseases. By focusing on science, the 2025 theme encourages evidence-based policy making and reinforces the idea that safe food saves lives. Now, Muslims worldwide are celebrating their second holiest festival, Eid al-Adha, also known as Eid al-Zuha or Bakrid, today. Scores of devotees thronged the historic Jama Masjid to offer prayers and celebrated Eid al-Adha. Dressed in traditional attire, worshippers came together in the spirit of devotion, unity and celebration. As one of the most significant celebrations in the Islamic calendar, it honors the unwavering faith and devotion of Prophet Ibrahim and marks the end of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. But beyond its religious significance, Eid al-Adha is also a moment to strengthen bonds with family, friends, colleagues and loved ones. In Rajasthan's Ajmer city, people gathered in large numbers. On the occasion of Eid, they offered prayers and exchanged greetings of peace and goodwill. The Balnoi battalion of the Indian Army organized Eid al-Adha celebrations and joined local civilians in marking the occasion in the Balnoi area of the Mendhar sector located in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. President Draupadi Murmu has also extended greetings on the auspicious occasion of Eid al-Adha. On social media, she said, and I quote, "I extend heartiest greetings and best wishes to all countrymen, especially my Muslim brothers and sisters. This festival explains the importance of sacrifice, faith and noble ideas. On this auspicious occasion, let us all take a pledge to work with the spirit of dedication for the society and the country." And Prime Minister Modi has also extended best wishes on Eid al-Adha. On social media, he said, and I quote, "May this occasion inspire harmony and strengthen the fabric of peace in our society. Wishing everyone good health and prosperity." Time now for some sporting updates. Well, in the French Open Final 2025, world number 1 Yannick Sinner defeated record-chasing Novak Djokovic. That was in the semi-final 6-4, 7-5, 7-6 in a clash of generations on Friday to set up a blockbuster final showdown with defending champion Carlos Alcaraz. Sinner, who is yet to drop a set in the tournament, will be hoping to gain revenge on Alcaraz after losing to the Spaniard in 5 sets in the semi-finals last year. Meanwhile, Alcaraz advanced to the final when his semi-final opponent, Lorenzo Musetti, retired injured at the beginning of the 4th set. It will be the first Grand Slam final played between two men born in the 2000s. Neither Sinner nor Alcaraz has ever lost a major final. Meanwhile, among the ladies, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka will face second seed Coco Gauff in the final Roland Garros on Saturday as both look to land their first French Open crown. Long considered a hard-court specialist, Sabalenka will try to establish herself as an all-rounder with her first title in Paris. The 27-year-old Belarusian knocked out 4-time champion Iga Swiatek to secure her berth in the summit clash on Thursday. While Gauff has been in dominant form as she ended qualifier Louis Boisson's dream, that is a dream run in the competition with a straight-set win. Both the players have a 5-5 head-to-head record. Even on clay, the record is 1-1. And that's it for now in this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world as well on DD India's mobile app. It's on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code, download the app. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.